What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today is hot. This week has been freaking hot. It's like 100 degrees right now. It's supposed to hit like 109 today, and the shop is not staying very cool. It's like 85 degrees in here right now, but we got a few things to do. So we're gonna work on the red truck a little bit. We got some work to do on the TDI motor. We are waiting for some parts for another project on the green truck that I'm not gonna tell you what it is yet, but should be coming out soon. As soon as I receive the correct parts, I ordered up some parts that were not right. So once we get those in, we'll get this green truck back together. But there's a few things I want to fix on the red truck. So one of them being that, if you can hear that, these bushings back here are very squeaky. I know I greased them when I put this thing together, but I think it's this, either that bushing or that bushing there. So I'm gonna take this apart, get those all greased up, and see if we can get those quiet down. While I have it apart, I'll probably pull the fronts out too, make sure those are greased, and get that quieted down. And then we do have to get the truck off the jack stands. We need the jack stands. You guys will see in the next video what we're doing to the green truck right now. And then we got a few things to redo, fix, and make right on this motor, one being this temp sensor. So I've been talking to a few guys that are obviously smarter than I am and help me kind of understand this cooling system. So what this pipe right here, the one I tapped into for the temp sensor, that when the engine's cold, when the thermostat is closed, this won't have any flow. So I won't be reading any coolant temp other than what's just getting heated up from, being, on side of the motor. It's not gonna actually read the actual coolant temp. So that's not gonna work. I do have, there's a wire in this main factory switch or sensor here that goes to the instrument cluster for the temp gauge. I did tap into that on that truck, and it does work. I'm not gonna say it doesn't work, it does work, but these temp sensors are kind of funky. So this output's just not very picky, especially in the Volkswagen where you're at, the coolant gauge is showing normal temp, but the actual temperature of the coolant can vary like 40 degrees and you won't see any movement in the gauge. So I might tap into that for now. I don't know. I really want to put the Toyota sensor back here. Obviously, I can't tap into the plastic housing. I am looking around to see if I can find a aluminum housing with a kind of the same configuration. I did find a few. One of them had the sensor pointed straight up here. That's not going to work because the tandem pump is there, but if you guys know of any aluminum coolant flanges that will bolt on and kind of have the same configuration, I know the ALH has one, but it has one of the water, I think it's this output for the heater core. It's coming straight out the back. I don't want that because this is going to be pretty close to the firewall, so I don't want nothing coming straight out. So that ALH one isn't going to work, but if there's one like a kind of a replica of that in aluminum, I could just simply, tap in a hole right there, throw my sensor there, and we'll be good to go. So a couple things we got to do. I want to pull this pipe back up. This is not going to work, so I'm going to weld that up and make sure that's not going to leak at all. And then we got to figure out something else. But let's get started on the red truck. Let's get the jack stands out from underneath the green one. We'll jack this thing up. We'll have to probably pull the wheels and tires off to drop that axle enough. And honestly, with this frame being so high, I might need to add some blocks underneath my jack stands to get them up high enough, but we'll figure it out. We'll make it happen. I do really do need a lift in here. That is something I really need to get a start on, is getting a lift in here. It's going to make stuff like this so much easier, but for now, I don't have one, so we got to make do with what we got. So let's get started. right, guys, we're all finished up with the springs. Doesn't make no squeaks anymore. We are good to go. I am sweating my ass off. It is 91 degrees in my shop right now. It's like 105 out, so I don't want to weld right now. It is way too hot to weld. So I'm gonna come out in the morning, we'll pull that pipe off, we'll weld that up, and figure out what else we're doing in this video. All right, guys, now the next day, we are back out in the shop. So we're gonna get this welded back up and figure out something else for that sensor. I did pick up a new lid, so I figured it was time for an upgrade, get something nice. So this is a new Lincoln. This has got the 4C lens. It's supposed to be pretty good, so let's bust this thing out. I don't know if there's batteries in it already, but we'll get it figured out, try it out. I just really needed an upgrade. I've been using a cheaper helmet. It was like 80 bucks, just an Amazon special. But I weld a lot, so I want something that you can actually see really good through. So let's try this one out. There we go, got a weld on there, got her sealed back up. So I will say I can actually see what I'm doing through this lid. That helmet is amazing compared to, this is the other one I had. That one's just from Amazon. It's called a Yes welder. It works fine for like MIG welding, but TIG welding isn't very bright when you're low amperage. This one has got so much adjustability in it, you can actually see what you're doing. So I should have bought one of these a long time ago instead of cheaping out on a cheaper helmet like that. So stoked about the helmet. It's going to come in really handy for welding all my exhaust, intake, all that good stuff on the truck. All right, we are back together, so that I'm not gonna worry about grinding that weld down because it's kind of hidden back there. Can't even see it. So I did buy clamps, like I said, I got them in. So I have these crimp clamps and then these clamps here, it's still sealed up. These are made for soft lines, so they don't have all those little cuts in it for those worm style clamps, and it won't cut your line. So I'm gonna use the crimp clamps on right here where it goes, where it hooks into the temp sensor, and then just those regular other hose clamps for there, and up underneath there. Well, there she be, guys. These clamps should do the job, nice and tight on there. So one thing I think I'm just gonna do, I know I'm gonna do it anyway, is I wanna cut this apart like I said in the last video and just bring it straight out, because like I said, my radiator upper hose is over here. So it should come 90 here and then 90 right back if I just straighten that out. So I'm gonna cut it here, cut it here. I got some straight pipe, and we're just gonna weld it together. We'll have to, looks like it's spot welded right there for that little mount. We'll drill that out and weld that back on because we're gonna need that mount. There it is, guys, just like I imagined, coming straight out. Turned out really good. So that's going to be a lot easier to find one hose that goes up to the radiator instead of splicing two together. That should make that a breeze. One other thing, I could not get that whole mount off of the factory pipe, so I ended up just cutting it and welding it right there. So that's going to be just fine. It's mounted back here on the fuel filter bracket as well, so that should be plenty strong. Shouldn't have any issues with that. Well, guys, that is a wrap for today. So I'm kind of at a weird spot in this build right now, just waiting for parts, mainly the adapter plate. Like I said, I am waiting and waiting for that thing. That is one of the last things we need to bolt onto the motor, throw the motor and tranny in the truck for a test fit. We got to build all the motor mounts, all that good stuff. But waiting for that, also waiting for parts for another project I was doing on the truck too. So we're just sitting around waiting for parts. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully I get some stuff in the mail soon and we can tackle some more projects, finish some things up and get this motor in the truck. But for now, I guess we're just tinkering on little things and just buttoning up all the little details. And I will say that new welding helmet is a game changer. If you guys are just getting into welding and want to cheap out on a helmet, I wouldn't recommend it. I can actually see exactly what I'm doing crystal clear through that helmet. I've had two other cheaper helmets. They do not work that great. Take it from me, buy a decent helmet to start off with. You'll be much better in the long run. I'll have this helmet linked down below if you want to check it out on Amazon. Really not too bad of a price, and it's actually a really, really good helmet. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Go smash that thumbs up button, comment, subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.